Hi, I'm Liren from Cardiff Uni. Welcome to my talk on Rigoletto Paraphrase, one of the most representative adaptations by Liszt. Perhaps you already have some knowledge and understanding about this piece. It was adapted from the quartet Bella Filia della Mona, which is a really dramatic section in Verdi's opera Rigoletto. When creating the transcription or arrangement from this section, Liszt faced a challenge of presenting the sound of four singers with just one piano. Today, I will talk about how Liszt presents the voice of Duke and Gerda as a tenor and a soprano on piano. Additionally, I will introduce a method called overtone analysis that can describe the features of sound or timbre in a scientific way. This method can help performers understand the composer's intentions and evaluate their own performance. So Liszt created tons of transcription involving a huge amount of work from different composers such as Beethoven, Bach, Gounod, and also Verdi. This work has received mixed reviews from critics throughout the history, with two main criticisms: the use of empty virtuosity and unfamiliar harmonies, leading to disorientation in listeners. Arthur Schnabel, the famous Austrian pianist and musician, has criticized Liszt's transcription like this. Are those negative opinions real? The quartet depicts such scenes: Gerda, Rigoletto's daughter, who falls deeply in love with the amorous Duke. Accidentally, she discovered him having an affair with Maddalena. In original opera, the Duke sings with a confident, attractive, and a magnetic tenor, while Gerda sings with a heartbroken and a fragile soprano. So, how to shape such sound on the piano? After all, there are no key called magnetic or fragile on piano. To illustrate Liszt's approach to solving this problem, we must understand and describe the sound scientifically, instead of using subjective and inaccurate adjectives, like happy or sad. If we analyze a sound from a single note, we would find this sound wave is constituted with a series of sine waves, wherein the sine wave with the lowest frequency represented the fundamental, which determine the pitch of the note, and the other components with normal integral multiple times higher frequencies compared to the fundamental are called overtones. We call them from lower to higher frequencies second overtone, third overtone, and so on. The volume of the overtone creates the unique sound features of different instruments and singers. So, after we know this method, we can objectively depict the color of sound or timbre with the overtone structure. Here are violin, trumpet, and oboe. How about the tenor? Here is the recording of beginnings of quartet, the aerial part from Pavarotti. And there is the overtone spectrum for this part. From this spectrum, we found that an area in the middle has almost no overtone signal, while the overtone signal appears again in the higher frequency area. How about the overtone structure of the piano? There are the relatively low level of overtones, especially in higher frequency range. This lack of overtone is a disadvantage for the piano. But the good news is it is very easy to play the harmony on the piano. We can press many keys simultaneously, and as you may have guessed, Liszt has the solution for this problem: harmonies. Please see the F4 here. Liszt wrote an E4 flat to correspond with this F4 as harmony. This is strange. The major second is this note. Just look at this spectrum. The same note F4 sound by Pavarotti. Just like I mentioned before, sufficient overtone is both the higher and the lower register, but nearly empty signal in the middle. Please listen carefully or take your earphone. Now we listen the sound from parallel, but just fundamental plus second overtone. Strange. Now the third join in. Also weird. And the fourth. And the fifth. And the sixth. Please pay attention. Now the seventh, the first visible overtone after middle area join in. At this moment, consequently, we realize the sound is from human being instead of another instrument. In other words, the seventh overtone is the most important factor to identify the tenor. Maybe it sounds like sound from very old disc because it lacks the high frequencies partials, which tend to be damaged during the long time preservation. And now, the rest of overtone join in. Okay, parallel. And now we know the crucial role of the seventh overtone. Please see which pitch corresponds to E flat. Amazing. How did listener know that? Although in different register, you must know the third chord sound quite similar to its inversion sixth chord. Thought one note is in other octave. Here situation is similar. Lister used this E4 flat to add the crucial element to sound more like tenor-like flavor. There are other examples in this piece. Liszt did the same thing. Next, in terms of Jada. Here, Jada's soprano sounds so beautiful. In the same place in Liszt's transcription, he used two performing scales to present these beautiful sounds. The first time just with the normal octave, and then he used the octave repetitions. I could say, it is crazy difficult. But why? MTV trusty? Just have a look at the overtone features of Jada's soprano. Different from tenor, it's just reduced with increase of frequency. How about the sound of octave on the piano? Similarly, they are similar trend. However, as shown in the picture, the overtones of the soprano are much more sustainable. But in contrast, the overtone of piano attenuates so fast. I did press the sustain button when I sampled the sound, but it's just that it can sustain the fundamental effectively instead of overtones. You can watch the dynamic process. The overtones are reduced so fast. But if we play with the octave repetition, they are much more longer. And these two spectrums are how more similar, which means the sound produced by octave repetition are much more close to the soprano. So, by overtone analysis, we understand the motivation why Liszt created such peculiar harmonic combination and the crazy difficult places. Undoubtedly, Liszt must be genius of transcription. He can identify the key factor of the sound from various singers and the instrument to serve his compositions with his ear instead of modern technologies. He is really respectable. The method, overtone analysis that I introduced could be meaningful for performance to know the concept of timbre and adjust their performance. Any question? So for this question, I think firstly, I will prefer to practice my left hand because here we always put all of our attention on the right hand. But actually here the left hand is quite difficult too. So we must to ensure that our left hand always in the right position. For example. This is the first thing, and then in terms of the right hand. For the octave repetition, I think it's very useful practice for me. I think I will do it always, almost every day. For example, I will play the chromatic scale, but with octave repetition. And during the octave repetition, I will do the crescendo and then the diminuendo like this. Yes, I think this is very useful practicing, especially for a lot of listener pieces. Not only in Rigoletto, there is always octave repetition like in La Candela. But here, I think the most difficult thing, it is not only the octave repetition. There is a small leap between two positions, like so. When we practice this piece, we must to pay more attention on this small leap. So I will pay more attention at this three note, and then and so on. Yes, I think it is very useful practice skill for this piece. Thank you.